Well, we're here. It is the Dynasty Hour. I am one of your four horsemen of the Dynasty Apocalypse. It is me, Fantasy Blue Chip, also known as Jagger. And with me, my co-host, coming back from his own personal bar, it's the Basshole, Chuck Bass. You could catch him at This Guy Sucks. Also here. And then we have Justin Herrera. He's here to save your lineups and also help you in your Scott Fishbowl draft. And then we have Mr. Sophisticated himself, Andrew LeDuc, Mr. Mallard, also the host of Divots and Pivots Pod. And folks, we did a Scott Fishbowl draft, a mock draft that is. The real shit isn't happening yet. Before then, we got a little bit of news and nonsense. I'm also just coming off the high of trading for Kyle Pitts. I will talk about him later because I also drafted him in the Scott Fishbowl. But how we doing, gentlemen? Chuck, you're back from your honeymoon celebrating yourself for your birthday.
Yeah, Chuck needs to connect his mic, though, so we can actually hear him.
Yeah, he's muted.
And it's not letting me unmute him because it says his mic isn't connected, so we'll circle back to Chuck.
Andrew, how are you? You missed the mock. It's okay.
I did miss the mock. Nice. I was talking golf.
Yeah. He had his own show. But I actually like this because you're like you're going to be like, you're impartial. So you could just actually say like, who did a good job? That was a stupid fucking pick. Oh, Jagger, you're clearly on auto draft. So Justin, you're back for show number 2. We'll start with you and we'll just go ahead and jump into today's news and nonsense. It's basically all nonsense besides this one thing. Saquon Barkley wants to hold out. It's a tale as old as time, folks. Is he in the right? Yes. Is it good for anybody? No, it is not. Justin, is this going to bother you at all about having Saquon Barkley on your team? Are you going to be looking to move him? Are you looking to buy? What does this do for you?
Oh, it does absolutely nothing because nobody is going to want to sell him at a discount. And also at the same point, nobody believes that the Giants are legitimately going to let him not play football for them, especially after last year. He proved his value. Come on, New York Giants. Dave Gettleman is out of the building. That doesn't mean you got to throw every pick that he's ever had out of the building, too. Let's go. Let's get this guy a contract. He's already said he doesn't want to shape the market. He just wants to flow into it. Give him $12, $13 million. You know he deserves it. You know he's a workhorse, and you know he can put the team on his back. Just do the right thing. Do it. Come on, Big Blue. Do it. You're my boy. You're my boy, Blue.
Looks like we might have lost Jagger again.
All right, Andrew, I'd like you to go because I need to process what everything Justin just said.
Yeah, no. So, this doesn't really do anything for me either because I think this is his last stand for all running backs here to get the bell cow big money running back is done in the NFL. So why wouldn't he try to get as much money as he can right now? Because it's only going to get worse in the coming years as far as teams willing to spend money on these guys. So why not just try everything he can right now? He will end up playing. By the time camp rolls around, he's going to end up playing. He'll take what he can get, and it's all going to work out. So I'm not worried at all. But sure, I'm fine with him doing it. Why the hell not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was joking about that, Justin. I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
we've already seen.
Go ahead.
We've already seen. Like it's not unprecedented anymore. Like this is kind of some version of this. Actually happens every year where some relatively big name threatens to hold out. And it's almost always, for whatever reason, it's a team that's getting ready to rebuild, or not rebuilding, but is like on the come up. And we're all like, come on, man, like everything's finally going okay over there. Now you're going to hold out. But the running back position is so deep. From a fantasy perspective, it doesn't really move the needle in any way. And everybody's heart's guarded after the Le'Veon Bell fiasco. So we'll see. I mean, there's plenty of time between now and August to, get our ducks in a row. So it'll all blow over.
Jagger, did you plug your potato back in?
Gonna... Yes, but you guys basically hit on everything that I was going to say. This is like the last stand for running backs, like hands down. If Saquon ain't getting paid, nobody's getting paid. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I guess like when we talk about Bijan, Saquon is just like the slightly older version of that prospect, and he makes the Giants roster attractive. Like he makes everything work. Like I think Daniel Jones could be good because he has Saquon Barkley in the backfield and they can lean on Barkley. So I'm not moving him either. And when you talk about how shallow running back is to actually difference makers, you can't really move Barkley if you're looking to compete. So that is unfortunate for Saquon Barkley because
very, very unfortunate.
They never do.
He's a little late to the party on the holdouts,
folks. So next bit, no. Well, let's talk about nonsense. Sam Darnold has the edge at camp. So I don't. If there's anything that's a recurring theme on this show is I will lag and the 49ers have a quarterback controversy. Like I don't know, man.
Lying.
Like what?
Sam Darnold getting edge at the barbershop. Come on.
Yeah,
he ain't holding this.
Come on now. Adam Schefter's
I don't even know.
Is always spot on. It's always spot on. So you know this guy's got the real sources on there. I don't think anybody in that fucking room right now thinks that Sam Darnold is going to be the backup. I don't think there's anybody in that room.
I just don't even understand why they're
make the team.
I don't understand why they're letting these stories get out because there's absolutely no benefit to anybody except for maybe Sam Darnold's agent. Like that's the only the more that these things happen, the worse the team looks, from the organization to the coaching staff to ownership. Honestly, I mean, this is just like an institutional failure. So I don't know there's no consistency at all. It's like they don't have a PR person on staff is what I think a lot of this is coming down to. They must have traded that away
the
for
only
Trey Lance as
consistent
well.
thing that comes out of that like entire building right now is Brock Purdy's gonna be ready to go. Like they frantically say it. Brock Purdy's gonna be ready to go. Hey, Jim over there. Do you hear Brock Purdy's gonna be ready to go by camp? Oh no, wait, he's throwing right now. Like they're so hyped on just setting in that Brock Purdy is gonna be the starting quarterback. It's like we get it, bro. He's gonna be the starting quarterback.
It's very nervous
you don't
energy.
have to say it exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. They're frantic as fuck. They're trying to make it. They're trying to speak it into existence because they're doing this every single day. They're like John Lynch is getting out there and saying, "Yeah, Brock's looking good. He's looking like he's going to be starting training camp. Oh yeah, Brock's looking good. It's like he never even got injured. Oh yeah." They're frantically pushing this narrative that Brock Purdy is just A-okay after totally getting his elbow torn up. And I'm like, I'm kind of a nervous wreck over here because I'm like, fuck, dude, this is my team. It's a Super Bowl roster, and they don't know who their fucking quarterback's gonna be. They really don't.
To me, they feel like the guy who picks up a player. They pick up a player for free off the waivers, and then any amount of anything happens, and then they drop him on the trade block, and they're like, "Come get your future starting QB," and everyone's just like, "Okay, we know he's there. He's always been there, and he'll probably be there in 6 fucking weeks." So I don't know what they're doing. This is ugly. I want it to stop.
It is ugly.
Everybody, yeah, it's just like, how is this good for anybody's confidence? It's just like I don't think it's good for Brock Purdy. I don't think it's good for Trey Lance. Sure as fuck's not good for him. I think Sam Darnold's immune at this point. He's just happy to be considered. I don't know how this is good for the fan
Sam
base.
Darnold was
So
lucky that
it's
somebody
just-
called him when free agency
Yeah.
opened. He picked that phone up so
Exactly.
fast. He's like, yes, accept, yes. Sam,
Yeah.
we didn't even tell
He
you the
showed
parameters
up-
of the contract. Yes, I'll take it. It's
Yeah,
not.
he showed
this
up in
isn't
an
Carolina,
Oscar
right?
tux. Yeah, he showed
Yeah.
up in an Oscar tux, and he's just like, "I'm so happy to even be considered." You know,
It's just weird because like if this was happening on like the Texans, it wouldn't even be headline news. But so much hinges on what's going on with the quarterback situation there. I mean, even down to like a gambling perspective for who's going to be starting these games because it's probably the most loaded roster in the NFL. They just and it comes down to like what's going to happen for Ayuk and McCaffrey and Kittle and Debo, and even like projecting the next like 3 or 4 years. Like, okay, is Purdy the guy this year because they're trying to win now and they know what they have, or do they actually believe this guy is a long-term investment? Because we know Sam Darnold isn't. So like, what? It's like you got to piss or get off the pot. Like they can't go the rest of the summer with this being like a daily headline, which is what it's shaping up to be.
Hey,
and it's kind of
Chuck,
gross.
Were you
It's
not
just-
there
it's
for
kinda gross.
2022? Because that was the entire headline was 2022. Was what are they going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo? Ooh, is he going to get traded?
But
loved
like
it.
that one had no, you're right, but that was such a tired narrative that I think we were all like, yeah, okay, guy, like we've all moved on, even if you guys haven't. Like, let go. High school's over. Let go. Like we're moving on. Like and it just hasn't materialized. This year we're all like, what are you doing? Move on. Like or no, like come on. Like I don't know. It annoys me to beyond belief.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So let's talk about some more foolishness. Sony Michel signed with the Rams, and yeah,
This made the show sheet. Oh my god.
It sure did.
But
He's behind Kieran Williams, so let's.
Yeah, but hear me out. They say Cam Akers is considered a focal point in the offense. I
Mhm.
think both of these things are ugly pieces of news. I don't
Mhm.
believe in Cam Akers, and I'll eat shit, man. Cam Akers costs nothing. If he is good, I will. I don't know. I could be wrong. Before we continue, we got a question, folks.
That's a good question too.
PPR Superflex. I won the ship last
Real
year.
time.
Would you trade a 2024 first and my 2025 first for Breece Hall and Jerick McKinnon? I have CMC, but not many great options behind him. No, don't do that. Don't do that at all.
Hard no.
Jerick McKinnon doesn't matter. So I'm
Yeah,
just throwing that
that's
out.
nothing.
I'm throwing that out. You have CMC, you're fine. You're gonna have what's a hero build. So you need to make sure you have good receivers, and then your RB2, you could figure that out. The RB2 is the most replaceable spot on your roster. You could get like, let's say Anthony Madison gets hurt. You can get Dwayne McBride later. You could figure it out. Don't give up 2 firsts. Okay. Anyway,
even-
thank you for the question.
Even a first, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure everyone else agrees. So keep the
Yeah,
questions
you
coming.
nailed, you
folks. I
nailed
like
that
it.
explanation. So
Yeah.
nothing else to say from my end.
The 2024
Back to
first, man.
foolishness.
That is like when you see that now, like my heart stops. I mean, not to say that some of them aren't worth giving up depending on the trade, but man, that is like that has become the holy grail.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Didn't they
it's
say
the
that about this
2024
year's
class.
first two?
You fucked up my joke. I was gonna say the 2024 class is this year's 2023 class. Back to foolishness. Do you guys care about any of these running backs? Do you guys like Cam Akers? Is he something that he? Do you want to roster him? I don't know.
I mean, actually, Andrew, you start with this one.
There were times last year where I was clinging to some hope of value from Cam Akers, and I had some shares of them, but no, I don't want any of them. I don't. I think this offense is just gonna they're just gonna ride Stafford's elbow into the absolute ground as much and just let him die on it, pretty much, throwing the ball all over the place.
I don't understand this roster whatsoever. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the Rams. I don't know what they're doing. It's hard to watch. I don't know. I'm not into any of these assets. And it's you're welcome, Tyler. We appreciate you.
Keep them coming.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
If you have Cam Akers, trade him. Now's the time. It
Mhm.
was time last season. It's been time. It's been time since
It
you
was
drafted
time
him
after his
as a
rookie
rookie.
year.
Yeah, it's been time. Like, so I don't know. God's leaving this door wide open for you guys. Just like, let's get it while it's hot. Next, we're gonna go to some other muddy garbage that I have no interest in. We're gonna talk to Giants wide receivers. Jalin Hyatt is working with the third teams, and Parris Campbell could be this year's Parris Campbell, meaning that he's really good in camp, and then he might be hot for 1 week, and then he might be gone. Am I just heartbroken about Parris Campbell? Justin, let me know.
No, I mean, if Parris Campbell can get on the field, I mean, he's speedy slot receiver. He could definitely be like a bench player for you if you have a really deep bench. But yeah, other than that, I mean, do you really want to hedge your bets on any Giants receivers? I think, the moment you put money invested into getting Sterling Shepard off the waiver wire after his 20-point game, he automatically tears his ACL, which seems to happen every single year. But I mean, it's not tearing the ACL every single year, but it's always some major injury after like his big week. Like he'll come in, catch like 10 passes, 120 yards, and maybe a touchdown, and then you'll be like, oh shit, I got to get him off the waiver. Let me put everything on it. And then it's like, oh yeah, he's just like, freaking sprained ankle, high sprain, 6 weeks. And you're like, fuck, man, come on, Sterling, stay healthy. Yeah. But I feel like that's just honestly this entire Giants roster. I mean, who the hell saw Isaiah Hodgins coming out of nowhere last year? I don't think anybody would raise their hands here.
Yeah, I mean,
he was on the Bills last year.
Yeah,
and
it's like exactly. It makes sense. It's just that like he was never that good. I get that he was Brian DeBall's guy at the Bills, but I don't think that like crossing the border from Buffalo to New Jersey automatically is going to make him like a viable starter, but that happened. And then like the Jalin Hyatt thing, guys, your rookie draft nicks, like yours truly has been telling you, Jalin Hyatt is not that good. He is not that good. College stats are liars. They are liars. And I know that data guys will put up a graph that'll say that, hey, this guy's good, but it's a fucking lie. It's a lie. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, but if they can't run routes and they run a clear gimmicky offense like Tennessee, these things can happen. So sorry you drafted a bad wide receiver. I love you. We'll get you on the next wide receiver episode of how you can unfuck yourself. Welcome to my TED Talk. And that's the news and nonsense, folks.
Hold on. Before you get away from that, I can't stress enough going into this year. Every year, there's multiple teams. There's usually not more than 2 or 3, but there's at least multiple that every single one of their wide receivers is available on waivers at all times. It was the Jags before they got Kirk. It's been the Titans for in and out in years. The Cardinals before they brought in Hopkins. These guys aren't even worth a roster spot after week 2 or 3. You're going to know immediately. They're going to alternate high scorers monthly. I mean, you're going to have guys who have 2 weeks and you're going to look nice. They're going to be tantalizing. Do not make any even remotely significant long-term investments in any of these players. Wait, because what they're doing is they're gearing up and they're going to make a trade or they're going to sign somebody in free agency. And that's going to be the guy for the next like 3 or 4 years. That's the template in the league. That's what all these coaches and all these offensive coordinators do for their quarterbacks, regardless of how good the quarterback is. So just wait for that moment to happen. Don't dip your toe in this pool quite yet.
Yeah, it's the roster cloggers. These are all basically the 4 players we talked about: Sony Michel, Cam Akers, Jalin Hyatt, Parris Campbell. They are roster death. Like having them on there is like a cancer. You can't move them. Nobody wants them. At most, you're hoping to foist them on somebody in a package deal. If no one has anything else to add, we will pay some bills with Underdog, and then we'll talk Scott Fishbowl, baby.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit, and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code TSS Dynasty to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Good girl.
TSS Dynasty.
Yes, TSS Dynasty, folks. Make sure to hit that code. Underdog's still hot right now. I just finished my first Best Ball Mania. It's still like taking candy for a baby, guys. Not just that, they just started their Chihuahuas, and I just looked at it today. It's only 35% full. That's $4, folks. So you can load up, and you can do the math because I don't want to. But you can always do a ton of Chihuahuas with $100. Actually, that'd be $200 if you donate. If you deposit $100. That's TSS Dynasty, folks, because we're fancy pants British people. And
we'll have another one of those. We'll have another one of those bad boys coming up. We'll do another draft night. We'll get some Underdog involved. Get some peeps over. Have a good time.
Hell yes, we will, folks. And if you guys want in, we'll do something special for the homies. We'll talk about that at some other point because we got some shit cooking for you guys. All right. Andrew didn't make this mock because he was talking golf. But that's cool because we're the impartial judge. Yes, Jared Goff.
Talking golf. It's his new new side podcast, Justin, Talking Golf.
What is bringing Amon-Ra St. Brown on next week.
Worst podcast ever. All right. So Justin, we'll go with him first since he was drafting. What slot were you drafting at, Justin?
I believe I was drafting 8, where I'm going to be drafting in Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah, I'm the only one who didn't go for my actual draft slot because I was panicked and I just picked a spot.
You were the
but
first
Justin's
one in.
team. Yeah, I know.
You made the draft.
Busted.
It was a tough look.
No,
he's a mountain boy.
What's fucked, guys? Yeah, it was fucked as I looked down. I'm like, man, I should pick my draft spot. And then it was full. I'm like, oh, well, here we go.
Sorry. Justin, you had the first pick where everyone went, okay, I see you. It was the first one.
Yep. Lamar Jackson. This whole team I really like. I like my team. But if someone said I had to roll with Justin's team, I don't think it'd be a bad bet because you got the high upside stack with Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson. And then you come back with CeeDee Lamb, who to come back and still get a wide receiver 1. Thank God for third round reversal. Am I right? Yeah, exactly. That. Yeah, that's using the rules, guys. And I think Justin keeps traditional, I wouldn't say traditional values, but the modern day build where he builds out with really strong rushing quarterbacks. And so he's not going to lean on some of my strategy a little bit as much because I have old man Aaron Rodgers who doesn't run anymore. But I love the Gibbs upside and I love the Dobbins upside, especially since Scott Fishbowl rules half per carry. Now, Andrew, since you're the impartial judge, what are your thoughts on Justin's team? Go.
Yeah, I like Justin's team. I think it's very balanced. Obviously, high end at both quarterback and receiver, and then definitely taking some high upside shots at the running back between Gibbs, Dobbins. To get Khalil Herbert in the 10th round here, mid-10th round, who is right now is still technically the number 1 running back in Chicago. Massive upside there. So yeah, he's got some good depth and some good balance. I like this. Also getting Chig there in the 7th round to round out his tight end. Yeah, I like this team. I do want to hear. I am curious on your argument as to why you took Lamb over Diggs, because I think that is something where a lot of people have them ranked pretty closely together, but I feel like a lot of people tend to go with the upside of Diggs. What was your specific reasoning for Lamb over Diggs here?
I see them as guys that probably are going to go around the same as far as yards and touchdown range. And I see Lamb as being the total package for Dallas. I think they brought in Brandon Cooks to stretch the field, but Lamb is to me, he's the next Cooper Kupp. He can run every single route in a route tree. He can be moved into the slot. He can be moved into the perimeter. He can be moved to the X receiver slot. He's the total package. And
Can you give us one more? Can you give us one more slot he could be moved into?
What's that?
Can you give us one more?
One more?
Yeah, is there one more position he can be? Maybe too wide. All right.
I think he can play quarterback too, right?
Yeah. There you go, Wildcat. Yeah, absolutely.
He could play the nickel, walk up safety.
Yeah, some Troy Brown action.
He might even be a 3-point stance. He might even go into a tight end position after that.
Oh, yeah.
Snapping the ball too.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, no, this team is solid. He's deep just about everywhere. Even to grab Jelani Woods as a third tight end, I think has some good potential upside here as well. So,
well, he did what Justin did was, and I say this begrudgingly, he did what you have to do in these competitions. Is his team's either going to finish first or last. He took big swings at murky positions where nobody's really emerged yet, but we all kind of have our guys that we expect to emerge. And that's all the way down the roster from Gibbs to McLaurin to Kirk to James Cook to Herbert. I mean, you poll 100 people about every one of those guys' position and skill groups, and you're gonna get a pretty split mix, even if some guys are considered consensus favorites. So I mean, that's what we want to do, right? Nobody joined any of these competitions so that we could finish fifth. Like, you go big or you go home. That's what we're doing, and I think you did a great job at that.
Yep, swing for the fences. All right, yeah, that's a good breakdown. Love his team. Next, we pick at the spot that I'm not picking at, the Scott Fishbowl, because I chose the second slot. But here we are, anyway. And
you're just a point guard. I like it. You're setting us up.
Yeah, yeah. Also, auto draft got me a little bit, but most of my core is me, basically down to Sharp. I will take full credit on most of those things. And what I have here, folks, Fields, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Kyle Pitts, Damian Pierce, Michael Pittman, Jahan Dawson, and Zach Charbonnet. And to me, I give you an example of going zero running back as much as possible. I faded the RB position, and I made sure to concentrate my points with my QBs and wide receivers. And then, I don't know, my favorite pick is Kyle Pitts, man. Talk about upside, like Chuck hit it on there, man. That's with Scott Fishbowl scoring, there's so much upside for these tight ends. Not only do they have like a full point premium, but they have their own first down. They get their own 0.4 first down. So having all that upside, like, why wouldn't I take Kyle Pitts there? Like he's a player that can win me the Fishbowl. I won't win, but like let's just pretend. Let's pretend that I'm going to this time. So where I'm weak is definitely running back. So
yeah, Andrew, but you obviously, the way your team is constructed, you planned on being weak at running back. So you planned on going in week to week and only playing the minimum amount of running backs you have to play and loading up at wide receiver pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes sense. Because even getting Kadarius Toney in the 10th round there, I know that was where auto draft took over, but like that's not the worst auto draft pick that could have happened there. And then you still got Jamal Williams as well, who we know he can still be relevant. We'll see what it looks like on the Saints, but he could very.
You took all the grinders, all the
exactly
grinders,
so
which is what they're pushing forward this year. Are those guys?
Yep.
Yeah, because like, to be honest, like you said, like some of those guys I queued up, but like Jamal Williams I queued up. It's like you said, there's that per carry bonus. So I don't feel like Justin getting Gibbs is like awesome. I would like that. That's just a different kind of build, folks. But like, if let's say you don't get those high upside players, who's someone who's going to get a fuck ton of carries? And that's what I went to. Like that guy's going to get 10 carries and he might fall in the end zone. And let's put it this way: if Damian Pierce gets a touchdown on that week, I'm probably winning that week. That's a good week for me.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? And then we'll break down Chuck's.
Yeah, I like the touchdown.
Did you
upside
have?
on your
And
team.
you know what? Before we get to me, I'll ask both of you guys. Do you have any picks that you wish you could do over?
Yeah,
Um,
James Cook. I was really kind of mad at Herms for taking Jordan Addison, like literally right before me.
So was that a spite pick?
No, it wasn't a spite pick. It was just like the next guy on my queue, and I was just like, I had to go up and bowl, and I had like 30 seconds left, and I was like, shit, and then I picked James Cook. But yeah,
the only one that I regret, and it is like I'm not mad. Let's say like I could take back is the auto draft one. Is the Kadarius Toney, because I would have taken Zay Flowers there, and you guys know I would have like
Oh, sure,
there's yeah, like that would have been my pick there. And like, but if this was best ball, I would take Kadarius Toney all day, because like you love having Kadarius Toney for best ball. You hate having to physically put him in a lineup. So
getting Zay Flowers there for you would have been pretty clutch.
Exactly.
Yeah, can you imagine getting Zay Flowers in that range? It was fantastic.
Well,
yeah, like
I think Chuck's trying to segue into his team.
Speaking of smart picks,
Chuck
guys.
did that just for you too.
I know,
no doubt, no question.
Which is a perfect transition. Perfect transition to Chuck's team. Yeah, like I was pretty salty to see that. I checked this morning and I saw that and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
it was a shout out. My team is an homage to most of you guys.
That makes sense, because your team looks a lot like how my team looked last year at Scott Fish, where I waited on quarterback and then I
like,
greatly
this is an interesting
regretted
team. Yeah, because you went Chase.
I just love the kicker run that he tries to start here. He tries to do the kicker run.
Can we hold off on the kicker run?
Can
we hold off on the kicker run talk for at least a little bit? Need to make some legit breakdowns.
How did you not get your fellow Bass in there?
All right, look. For those listening at home, let me break down Chuck's team. He has Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, Nick Chubb, Geno Smith, Jared Goff, Miles Sanders, Drake London, Isaiah Pacheco, and Deontay Johnson. If anyone did the reciprocal of my team, it's you, and I love the way that you landed it. Would I do this? No, but if I did do it, it would be like this, because getting Deontay and Drake London is really good value.
Why no? Why the no there?
I don't want Geno Smith and Jared Goff as my quarterbacks.
You don't believe in Santa Claus? Come on, man. What happened to you?
No, I grew up in foster care. We don't believe in Santa Claus.
Well, that explains. That explains why you didn't know. That's why you didn't know that celebrity we posted in the group the other day. Okay, let's check.
Oh yeah. Okay. Guys, if we ever get a Patreon, we'll break down that joke later.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so I'll give you guys a little thought, because I go into all these. I'm such a little bitch in these mocks, because I pick picks that I would pick in real life, but I also just like to get the chat stirring and throw people off their game. So there's absolutely no chance I was going to start quarterback, or even probably take one quarterback, because you took Justin Fields and then Herms took Trevor Lawrence, which would have been the only two guys I would have taken that high, just because I think it drops off. I had no faith in Watson to continue to play at an elite level. Tua I like, but I feel like I can make Tua's points up, especially with how spotty he can be. So I just wanted to hit some big home runs. Chase, obviously massive. Mark Andrews, huge in this format. And then Nick Chubb, who's kind of like the do everything. And if they're not going to be rewarding passes like with some of the other pass catching backs, then I'm just going to take the absolute, some people would say he's the best pure rusher in the league.
So I do have a hindsight 2020 question for you here. Now that the draft this mock was filled out, looking at what could have been possible. Looking at what could have been possible, since you said you didn't want to go quarterback. There's a possibility you could have went Richardson instead of Andrews and still picked up Kyle Pitts instead of Jared Goff in that later round. Would that have been something you would have been happy with if it worked out that way?
Yeah, I would say honestly, of all the picks that I made, the Mark Andrews one was the hardest one to make, just because it does feel like such an not an like I feel compelled to do it more than I feel joy. So I mean, God,
Yeah.
trust me, I would love like, and when we kicked the segment off and I said Justin made the first, okay, I see you pick of the draft, like that was the Anthony Richardson pick, because we all know the variability of what that can be. I mean, it's like, I don't know. And I like the way I landed the build. I mean, I love all the players. I love the way they're going to be contributors. And I tried to do, like I talked about what you said, as far as guys who have the potentials to emerge in situations that have a lot of people split. You know, there's not a lot of people that are high on Drake London. I'm actually seeing him get super faded in the last few days. In particular, Pacheco, people are getting, you know, it's like, who wants another Kansas City running back that doesn't catch? But I loved my end. I loved the Deontay through Jacoby. I feel strongly about
this
all
section
that.
right here is real nice.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I love the tail end of your draft because, like I said, man, like these are three good examples of builds that you can make. You know, if you fade QB or whatever, like Justin has a very balanced approach. I fade running back. The only thing that we're not going to show you, because it's a bad idea, is robust running back. And then we're going to break down like the scoring and a little bit of strategy going forward here in a minute. But yeah, like I love the way that this kind of worked out. If Andrew would have got in, I wonder what he would have done. Probably like I've seen your drafts, Andrew, and you're definitely like, you're under the more of the Chuck mindset, and you kind of just take value where you can get it.
I do, yeah. Although I will say, just because of how it bit me in the ass last year with waiting on quarterback, I probably would have taken Anthony Richardson with that second pick, even if I went Chase first.
Yeah.
Just because I still have scars.
So my counter to that would be, and it's not even really counter, it's more just a question. Did you feeling bit at quarterback? Would you not want to take something more sure than Anthony Richardson, even if he is that home run? You know what I mean? Would you, if you're like, I'm not worrying about quarterback this year, I'm going Kirk Cousins or Dak, or you know what I mean, as opposed to like the volatility of Anthony.
So the way that if I was in the same exact spot you were in this draft, seeing how many quarterbacks and which ones went in the first round there, and then even two at the start of the second at the turn, I probably would have just taken the shot there, just knowing how last year my mindset was exactly what you're saying, that, you know, in this case, Watson would have gone, and then I said, well, I got Tua and Anthony Richardson like a full tier down, so I'm not going to pick them yet because the value doesn't make sense. And I kept making that excuse round after round until all of a sudden there was no freaking quarterbacks that are startable left for me to grab. So I probably would have went against my natural drafting, you know, instincts and taken him there and taken a shot. So yeah, but that, like I said, that's mainly because I got burnt last year.
So I would say this with Anthony Richardson, Lamar Jackson, knowing that you get 0.25 per rush was huge in my decision to go after both of those guys, because regardless of the volatility of Anthony Richardson, he's still going to be getting those rushes. And, you know, I see him as 2021 version of Jalen Hurts, where it really doesn't look pretty on the field, but when you check the stat sheet afterwards and you look at your fantasy roster afterwards, he's still putting 20 plus points up on there, even though you look on the field and you're like, Jesus Christ.
So should we build up to a live event of week 1 and maybe get a camera in your living room for when Todd Monken has him passing 41 times?
Yes, please do. I will set that up myself, and don't be surprised.
We'll do it for charity. It'll be a charity. Every pass attempt that he throws, combined with a swear word for you, we'll donate $1 to a charity of the viewer's choice.
How much per swear word? I might have to. Watch my leg.
0.25.
0.25. Okay. Throw a quarter in the jar, in the swear jar.
But let's save the scoring, because like we're gonna break all that down here in just a minute. We got to pay bills one more time with Jazz Casino, and then we'll be back and we'll talk a little bit more team building strategy.
Jazz, Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook, the world's best resource for all-purpose online wagering. For over 20 years, Jazz has provided the best and quickest payouts in sports and entertainment wagers. Live sports betting, covering all the major sports leagues, and even into the new and exciting world of esports. Down the stretch you'll come, with Jazz's online horse wagering. Get paid when you play with Jazz's fun and exciting online casino games. Go online now and use the promo code TSS for our new members deals. Jazz Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook, the world's best resource for online wagering.
Perfectly timed.
Jazz Casino, folks, for all your gambling needs. So we're back talking Scott Fish, and we're gonna break down the scoring, because as anyone who knows about this tournament, that's what makes it so funky every year, because it changes up. And we'll just start kind of where Justin was bringing up earlier about the rushing. The 0.25 points per carry is huge, and that makes me feel good about not getting pass catchers, because you have that compensation, and to me it brings a lot of balance, because like you can get the upside of passing guys, or you can get a grinder, as long as you're getting a guy that's getting 15 touches, you're having two kinds of upside there. Did this affect any of your decisions when you took someone like Nick Chubb, Chuck?
Yeah, especially Nick Chubb in particular. That was a really specific pick. I feel strongly about Nick Chubb. I always has. He's been an absolute rock. And you're talking about a guy plug and play. And it's all tailored around the Nick Chubbs, and there's only a handful of them. I mean, like trust me, like I would love a McCaffrey, Saquon, barring holdout, a JT. But I know without any questions asked, regardless of what's going on with the Browns, that Nick Chubb will give me an advantage in at least 80% of the matchups going into the year. And that's not something, I mean, like you can't say that in typical formats. You can say that he's a rock or your roster, but in Scott Fish Bowl, I mean, he is like champion. So I'm all about it.
Yeah. Then going to another caveat that I did with intention was drafting Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, because the nature of some of these bonuses, like getting a first down reception or whatnot, that I think stacking is huge. And I think, Justin, like, were you upset that you didn't get Mark Andrews? Is that someone that you would have wanted since you have Lamar Jackson, or would you have still drafted the way that you did?
No, I mean, I would have definitely considered Mark Andrews if he was on the board. I drafted the way I did because it fell to me. So if Mark Andrews was there with Anthony Richardson, I would definitely be considering those two options, because I really like the idea of getting the two guys that could really dominate the mobility as a quarterback aspect of it. And obviously getting Mark Andrews with, that extra point added per first down and per reception for a tight end is amazing, on top of the already 1 point PPR. So they get 2 point PPR and 2 point per first down. So obviously that's amazing, and I would love to have had that, but Chuck Bass is way too quick, and I knew he was going to do some shady shit to get me.
He just
didn't get a chance to. Go ahead.
You were on my mind, I promise. And there was something there was something dirty about the pick, but it was like doing something dirty that you're not supposed to do, and that's why you like it all the more. It was just premium. It was like staying out past your curfew.
Yeah, it's always fun to like intentionally fucking someone over in a draft. It's like doubly good. It's like the high you get of clicking the draft button, and at the same time the high that you get of like bringing someone else's day down in your league. It just feels so good. Back to stacking, I picked the Garrett Wilson and Rodgers stack because like I don't have that rushing upside, let's say, like Justin has with Aaron Rodgers. So I need to chase plus EV. And for those of you that don't know, that that's plus the estimated value, meaning that since I got Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, every time Aaron Rodgers throws the ball, it's more likely that it's going to go to Garrett Wilson, and thus I'm going to maximize my points on every play. So if I'm not going to get that rushing upside, I need to get the most out of every passing play, and I'm utilizing that by stacking both my wide receiver and my quarterback. So that's like a move that I did with intention, and it feels good that it landed. And like I thought that I would upset Chuck because there's no real quarterbacks left after I took Aaron Rodgers back to fucking over like your league mates over there. Cause I'm like, yes, Chuck has to settle for Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray, who probably won't play half the season for upside. Little did I know that he was going to go with the same quarterback back to back, essentially, when you think about fantasy value, but it works out. So that's
two of the
kind of
Geno Smith now, and obviously year over year is hard to predict. Geno Smith and Jared Goff, two of the top 6 passing touchdown leaders last year. So
that's what I'm not hating it.
Yeah,
I'm not hating it. I'm just saying that they like you talk about attention. You know what you're gonna get. They're gonna Geno Smith can scoot a little bit, but you're gonna hope that these guys throw 20 plus touchdowns.
My real goal with the punting on quarterback in the early rounds, which seems crazy and probably is crazy, is that I'm looking for guys, especially in Geno and Goff, because you're right. Like Geno and Goff is a very specific pairing. If that's Russell or that's Kyler or that's Carr or Love or any of the next like group of guys, it doesn't look near as good. Even if you pull one of those guys out of that build, it doesn't look even remotely close to being as competitive. So I'm hoping to stay within that competitive range, even if it is a tad lower than your Lamar Herberts, your Lawrences and Hurts. And I'm hoping that my skill position guys that I took early are absolute blue chip, fantasy blue chip smashes, and that I can use my knowledge of the fantasy football game and my hubris for the rest of my selections to make up the difference, if not expand upon that. So I'm just trusting my knowledge of the game to come through, but it all hinges on those quarterbacks holding up their end of the bargain consistently, not pick and pop, consistently. That doesn't happen. I'm fucked.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's like we keep talking about, man, like this is all gambling. So I I don't think I have a second QB. A lot of that is a third QB. A lot of that is Kyle Trask. So no, I don't have a third QB. Or a lot of that is
you scroll down. Yeah, hey, if you don't mind,
I was gonna call you out here, Chuck, because I was gonna say if Geno and Goff screw you over, you got Colt McCoy to fall back on. So all will be well.
Yeah,
That's it.
So the back half of this draft was me just trying to make Herms laugh. So the picks got a little screwy. Once you got to like the Conklin down, I definitely would have. I mean, there's no question about it. You get to those rounds, like that 12th round. God, look at this though. Truly, I mean, look, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but in the 12th round, Purdy, Garoppolo, Tannehill, Ritter, you go more down, Mayfield. Look, none of us are expecting anything out of those guys, but like those are quarterbacks that have a bevy of weapons to work with. So it just if something were to happen and I was to be smart and maybe target one of those quarterbacks, I don't feel devastated.
Yeah, my boy, like to me, if you're gonna get a third QB, like my boy, the Uncle Rico, that's the way you go. You swing for the fences. Trey Lance is going to be useless or very, very useful. No in between. Like this is going to be like a weekly lineup guy, or maybe Jared Goff is, or not. Excuse me. Maybe Sam Darnold is like the real fucking deal. I don't know. I would put my bet on someone who is actually good at football, which is Trey Lance. So
Sam Darnold. Did Sam Darnold get drafted?
No, he did not.
No.
But
I heard he
what
was
are your thoughts
so
on
good.
someone
I'm
like?
surprised you didn't draft him.
What are your thoughts on someone like B. Kane in the first slot, though, taking 4 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds, and then taking a 5th quarterback in Heineke in the 12th round, or not the 12th round? I'm sorry, the last round is what I meant to say.
I don't get it because, like, to me, you're doing the throw a bunch of noodles at the wall method, and then you're trying to hope something sticks, and you're missing value on top of that. Like I'm looking at right now, so you have Young and Stroud, whose range of outcomes are basically the same. They're basically the same if you really think about it. And you could have had, instead of taking that, you could have had Jackson Smith and Jigba, who has more upside. Brandon Cooks has more upside. Gibson has more upside. Khalil Herbert, who's a fucking steal for Justin, upside. Yeah, I mean, that just like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Like having a third,
that was
sure.
I could not agree more. That was a team that honestly had a chance to be probably far and away the best team, and he fucked it up. I honestly thought
until this happened right here.
Yeah,
these 3 picks, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, you could replace just a few tweaks. You want to keep Jordan Love? I don't love that, but fine, do it, and then go hard on your 9 through 11. You want to pass on Jordan Love and pass on and keep Bryce Young, like that shit is going to matter so much because his lineup is so top heavy that he's bound to get fucked. And it's top heavy with guys with Swift and Akers that, I didn't comment too much on it in the beginning. Like, I don't really love Akers that much. I love a Sean McVay RB1, but I don't love Akers. But Swift as well. I mean, like that's
See, I like Swift there.
Volatility there.
I like
Swift. No, Swift is a good pick. Swift is a good pick, but he doesn't have the backups, the hedges in those next few rounds, just in case he's not Swifty.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Like I said, I think if I'm fine with it up to Swift here. It's the Akers pick. I would have rather had Allen Connor. Like I would have rather had any of the other guys in this round really there. I wouldn't have taken if the plan was to grab both Young and Stroud at some point to try to hedge one of them taking off. Then I definitely wouldn't have been taking Love here. I would have definitely been trying to stack my wide receivers and running backs up here.
He said something about it in the chat too, about the Love Watson stack. I think he was just ready to splash.
I guess so.
Yeah, I think Love would have been there if it came back around. I think, he really missed out on an opportunity to go out and get somebody like a Javonte or a David Montgomery. Maybe even an Alvin Kamara. Somebody who would really hedge the bets of having 3 solid running backs, solid number 2 running backs that can make up for not having a true number 1.
So honestly, what I would have done there instead of Love, I would have jumped all the way. I would have taken Christian Kirk there instead, just because to have Christian Kirk as your number 3 wide receiver with Waddle and Olave on this team, I like that. And then coming back instead of Watson, that's where, like you're saying, grab one of those running backs, your Madison, your Montgomery, something there. I would feel so much better if those 2 picks were just changed.
What kills me
I'll even let him keep Cam Akers in there, but those 2, the Love and Watson pick would need to change for me.
Cam Akers going before a lot of these guys in this freaking 8th round is kind of unbelievable to me.
Connor, Aaron Jones, Pierce, Sanders.
Makes no sense.
It's crazy.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. This is what I've been trying to get out. Like this 6th round, what the fuck happened? Because
something went off the rails.
Because I'm looking at in what world? It's like I know I'm higher than DJ Moore. In what world is DJ Moore not the top of everyone's draft board right here? You talk about someone too. Yeah, someone who has legitimate like wide receiver 1, not the top wide receiver 1, but top 12 upside. DJ Moore has that. Keenan Allen, probably not. Kyler Murray is not he should have been drafted that high. I don't understand why you did that. James Conner, he's free, I guess. I don't know.
That's a big. He's a volume in this format. James Conner is who that pick reflects truly. In different formats, absolutely not. But in this format, I mean, they have no choice. They actually have no choice in Arizona. That's where they have.
Actually,
that's true.
Joe Mixon too. I don't think Chase Brown is that good. Like people who are trying to tell you Chase Brown is somebody, they're not that good at watching film or reading data at that. But Joe Mixon is going to get 20 carries. They're going to go nowhere. But because of those bonuses,
he's going to get them though.
Yeah, he's going to give you points. So the more I'm looking at Tyler's, you want to talk about playing the system. It's very, it's smart. It's smart.
It is smart. Now, Jagger, I do have a question for you, just because you're talking about DJ Moore, because I know, like we said, we both like DJ Moore. If he had been there in that 6th round for you, considering you had Justin Fields as well, would you have gone for the stack even though you hadn't had a running back yet? Would you have formed go, or were you locked into taking your first running back?
Good
no matter
question.
What there?
Oh, 100%. He was the top of my queue because I would have been happy taking Sanders, Rashad White, David Montgomery as my running back. I would have rather had the upside of DJ Moore than any of the running backs because I could get the same production. So
I love it. Ballsy play.
Yep. Well, folks, that'll do it for us. We'll do more. We'll do more of this later. We'll probably do another Scott Fish Bowl when it's close to the actual live drafts. In the meantime, make sure to like, subscribe. Make sure if you listen to us on Apple to leave us a review. Spotify, hit the bell, hit all the bells and whistles and all the bullshit that gives us views. Make sure to use code TSS Dynasty. I'm Jagger at Fantasy Blue Chip.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Fantasy bullshit.
I like fantasy. Sure. I like fantasy bullshit a lot more.
I like that.
I like it a lot more.
And then with me is Chuck Bass. And then Justin Herrera and Mr. Sophisticated Andrew Leduc. We'll see you next time, folks.
Cheers.